game 1 of 1 between Jmodo, the Zerg player, and HybridFrog, the Protoss player, coming up here on Desert Oasis. So this is always a fun map because it's a real spectator favorite and a player like least favorite because it's just a pain in the ass to win on from everybody's perspective. But at the same time, it's a fun map because it forces players to have longer games, even though it's such a short map sometimes.
Absolutely. Desert Oasis is primarily known for its extremely long rush distance, even though the bases are physically really close together.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this is going to happen once they actually patch this to have the rocks, the defensible rocks that are going to be going up at the natural. So we've got Jmodo up here in the north position, and we have HybridFrog here in the south position as the yellow Protoss. So, Zerg has a lot of interesting openings on this map. For the most part, they can almost always get away with a fast expansion on this just because, Protoss is a little tricky because, they could always proxy you and things like that. But like you were pointing out earlier, the rush distances are so great. So be curious to see what he does. But for the most part, Zerg tends to get like a token amount of units early game and then go mutas is a very valid strategy on this map because they don't need a lot to defend against a rush.
Absolutely. And of course Zerg is going to have that very easy early scout, especially against Protoss that has the delay in air units. Against Terran it wouldn't be as effective, obviously.
Yeah, so things are looking pretty okay at the moment here. HybridFrog definitely doing the right move and walling in. I mean, versus a Zerg player, Protoss has to wall in. I mean, there's always that chance that, you'll go for, early stalkers and he'll just, six pull you and get a bunch of lings into your base first. So pretty much Protoss always wants to have this wall up in a single zealot if they can.
Absolutely. We'll have to definitely keep an eye on what kind of units are coming out on both ends of the base.
All right, Jmodo here is doing a scout, and I always like it when the scout when a scout walks past the Xel'Naga watchtower and then just kind of dips in for a second, gets the full sight radius, and then keeps going. But he opted not to do that and is just taking a beeline path. So both kind of symmetrically scouting each other at the moment.
Right, it looks like Jmodo is actually going for, he has that extractor up already, so he might be looking for some early speedling pressure.
Yeah, that's most likely. That's pretty much of non 14 hatch style build orders with Zerg. Pretty much going for an early maybe 13 or 14 gas, then getting a 13 or 14 pool, and having that 100 gas right as the pool pops up. Now he got his gas probably a little late, as you can tell. He's got about 60 gas right now with the pool up, so he probably did something like that. But that's one of the more standard openings, only because speedlings are great. In fact, I'm a Zerg player, and I will always harshly castigate any Zerg player who doesn't get Zergling speed. I mean, you pretty much always want it for any early or late game application. So it's pretty much always a good thing to get. Meanwhile, HybridFrog is just looking to deny an expansion, which is okay, because frankly, Jmodo is not going to be doing that anytime soon. Speed's going up. He's continuing to pump econ, and we've got that. And HybridFrog is doing exactly what I was hoping he would do, which is he's got the single zealot, he's researching Warp Gate, and he'll probably get some stalkers and some more gateways soon.
Absolutely. Like you said, he did the intelligent thing that all Protoss players should do against Zerg, which is that one-by-one wall off, which he can hold off a huge amount of Zerglings, as long as they don't get the surround on that one zealot that's holding the choke.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So far, nothing much. It looks like both players are just kind of opting to stand off at the moment. So, and Stargate is going up for HybridFrog. So that's his rationale. I was going to say, most of the time, if you've got a Cybernetics core up this soon, you're probably getting a Stalker by now, but he didn't, and so, of course, he got the one Sentry instead. So he's really trying to stall out here so that he can get his Stargate up. And he built it on the opposite side of his base where the Overlord is, but, keeping sight on that Overlord with the pylon at least a little bit. So we'll see if he can sneak off into this.
Absolutely. With the incredibly short air rush distance, if the Zerg player doesn't get either spots it or gets some good anti-air defense up, a single Void Ray in his base could mean serious trouble for his mineral line.
Yeah, that is he's in a pretty good position right now because it looks like Jmodo just set up a Roach Warren. And normally I would say that Jmodo is in a perfect position to just kind of explode out with a lot of roaches and go and attack. But, he's going to need a second queen at the very least if he's going to be able to compete with this. Especially that he's just committed himself to an expansion. So hopefully he can get some scouting on there. But that Stargate really is pretty far from anything. Most players don't think to scout from this kind of side little peninsula path here to be able to look for a Stargate, so that's a pretty smart place to put that. And you'll notice that his rally point is right in the center of his base, meaning he's planning on getting both of those out first and then attacking, which is a brilliant idea. That'll always, like, if they only have one queen and you go in with two Void Rays, you're guaranteed a victory. Whereas if you go in with one, he might be able to build a second queen and fight it off, and then he'll be ready for it. So, second queen is going up, but it's going up at his expansion. So, and with no creep connecting that, he's going to have trouble reinforcing him if he gets any trouble. So we'll have to see how this comes out.
Absolutely. Jmodo kind of committing to this roach ground-based army, which ordinarily would be a fantastic opening. It's extremely strong and fairly quick, but against only 2 Void Rays, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, and he is just starting Tier 2, so there's no chance of him having any Hydras or anything like that. Really, he's going to have to fight this off with queens, and he's got 1 queen at each expo. So here come the 2 Void Rays of Doom here. We'll see. He's probably just going to go in. If he was kicking a more leftward tack, I'd think he was going to charge up on something, but he's probably just going to go in and snipe a queen. Maybe he'll sit here and attack this, though.
Right, by charging up on the Roach Warren, he can easily just kill that queen in a matter of seconds and get
hopefully he doesn't
off.
lose that charge for too long. Yep,
yeah, let's see what
like
happens.
He's gonna
just hop from building to building.
This is going to be over. So let's see. Production tab. I don't see any extra queens coming up. Let's see how quickly he laid the eggs, but he lost charge on 1 Void Ray. But for the most part, this is still just going to be the end of the game here. Hasn't even done a single point of damage. There we go. 1 shot off on 1 Void Ray. And if he can maybe get a 3rd Void Ray in the base, other queen is going down. I don't really see any hope of him being able to take this out anytime soon.
Absolutely. Spawning Pool is just absolutely melted away in a matter of seconds. And these Void Rays are just wrecking havoc on every single thing that lies under them.
Yeah, I got to give HybridFrog credit. Most Zerg players will see this coming and will try to get many queens out in the same spot.